So here we have the second movement of the sonata in E minor. And as you can see, it begins with a very boring Aussetzung, realization of the bass from the very famous Max Schneider. I think he lived in the 50s, and I think this comes from the 50s, 1950, yeah? And he makes a percussion Begleitung, accompaniment. Chop, 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 bam, beam. Das ist das, was Bach geschrieben. That's what Bach wrote, but you don't have to re-articulate that in the right hand now, do you? Anyway, that's Max Schneider. And while we're at it, Hans Eppstein, this is now Hans Eppstein, see, it looks very similar, but it's a little different. Anyway, he writes that also, as you can see, is for flute and percussion. You know? Anyway, I think, of course, when you have in the melody ba-da-dum dee-dee-deen, you want here ba-da-dum dee-dee-deen. So ba-da-dum dee-dee-dee, ba-da-dum dee-dee-dee, ba-da-dum dee-dee-dee, ba-da-dum dee-dee-deen. Excuse me, I have a cold. So that's what I think is what I'd call uncourageous. It's not really offering anything in the right hand of the cembalo. It can just as well pick his nose or her. Yeah. Anyway, and then we get to a real problem. So in measure 6, Max Schneider writes here by this C sharp a 7. That's no problem. But then he writes a 7 underneath the F sharp. Ta-dam! Now, does he mean in F sharp 7 sharp 5 3, or what does he mean? No, I mean, good, there's a C sharp in the measure, so you can say, well, it's it carries over. But you see here he has a measure where he writes a sharp where no sharp is needed if you use this logic, because the sharp is already in the measure here, in the same measure. You see here he writes over underneath the A a 6 sharp. So if there's already a sharp in the measure, then I guess he wants a C here. But yeah. Anyway, to make things worse and more complicated, Hans Eppstein writes this measure this way. He leaves out the 7. Now, which is correct? I don't know. No. So that's a big problem. Now, we have the problem in general of the C, generally speaking. If you write an A with a 7 underneath, you don't come to a C sharp in the measure. It's just not expressed. You would have to write a 7 with a sharp underneath it for the 3. But it's not there. So, like, it's wrong. Yeah? Okay, you could say, well, he's carrying it over from the previous measure. But who says? That's not how music was written. There's no reason, really, for a C sharp here. And Hans Eppstein and Max Schneider both agree on this harmonic movement, as do most other players who use, of course, these so-called urtexts. Urtexte. What are we supposed to do? So I decided to see what it would, if I'd like to do it correctly, as Bach told us to do it, with a C and not with a C sharp. So I'll show you in the next video what I mean by the first 9 measures, okay? And you can decide, and please tell me what you think, because, I'm going a little crazy here. These people, Schneider and Eppstein, they have determined how we all hear this music for the past, and we've heard it this way for the past 70, 80 years. Okay, so see you in the next video. Bye.